Let me tell you something real, something that cuts deep into the truth of relationships, something that every woman needs to understand when she walks away, when she decides to stop chasing, when she finally chooses peace over confusion, clarity over chaos, dignity over desperation. When you go no contact, when you pull your energy back, when you stop explaining, when you stop calling, when you stop trying to fix what broke itself, something powerful begins to happen. You shift the entire dynamic. You turn silence into power, distance into reflection, and absence into impact. Because let me tell you this, he might not admit it. He might act like he's fine, like he doesn't care, like your silence doesn't bother him, but deep down it does. It shakes him. It confuses him. It forces him to think in ways he never did before. Because when a woman stops talking, a man starts remembering. When a woman stops showing up, a man starts realizing what her presence actually meant. When a woman stops giving, a man starts seeing how much she truly gave. Silence, my friend, is louder than any argument, stronger than any explanation, and more powerful than any text you could ever send. When you go quiet, you create space, and in that space, the truth starts to echo. The truth of who cared, who played, who loved, who only wanted control. Because no contact is not about making him chase, it's about making yourself heal. It's not about punishing him, it's about protecting your peace. It's not about making him miss you, it's about making you remember who you are without him. But here's the thing, when you do it right, when you stand strong, when you truly detach with love, something shifts inside him too. He begins to feel the void. He begins to realize that what he lost wasn't ordinary. He starts noticing the silence where your laughter used to be, the emptiness where your energy used to flow, the calm where your chaos once made him feel alive. He starts missing the texts he once ignored, the calls he once took for granted, the warmth he once assumed would always be there. See, men remember differently. They don't miss you when you're gone immediately. They miss you when they realize you're not coming back the same. They miss the energy, the way you made them feel, the peace you brought into their world. When you walk away gracefully, not in anger, but in silence, you plant a seed of memory that keeps growing in his mind long after you've left. Because nothing haunts a man more than the woman who walked away with her dignity intact. He'll go through stages. At first, he'll act unbothered, he'll post, he'll laugh, he'll pretend like everything's fine. But late at night, when the noise dies down, when the crowd fades, when he's alone with his thoughts, your silence will speak louder than ever. He'll scroll through old messages, remembering the way you used to care, and that's when it hits him. Not just the memory of you, but the weight of losing someone who was real. And listen, this isn't about making him suffer. It's about realizing your power. Because when you stop chasing, when you stop explaining, when you stop begging for effort, you reclaim your energy. You take your power back. You become the version of yourself that no longer needs validation to feel valuable. And that, my dear, is when he feels it most. Because real power isn't loud. It's quiet. It's calm. It's the kind of power that walks away without hate, without bitterness, without noise. See, what he will never forget is not your beauty, it's your peace. It's not your words, it's your silence. It's not the drama, it's the calm that followed after you left. He'll remember how he felt around you, how safe your energy was, how deep your presence ran. And when he realizes that no one else gives him that same feeling, that's when the real missing begins. Let me be real with you. No contact isn't easy. It's not just about not calling. It's about not reacting. It's about letting the silence do the work that words never could. It's about trusting that the truth will reveal itself in the stillness. It's about having faith that what's meant for you won't need to be begged for. You have to remind yourself that your energy is rare, that your heart is not a revolving door, that your peace is worth protecting at all costs. He will start to remember the little things. The way you listened when no one else did, the way you brought calm into his chaos, the way you supported him when the world turned its back. He'll remember your kindness, your patience, your strength, and that memory won't fade easily because genuine souls don't come often. When a woman like you walks away, She doesn't just leave emptiness behind, she leaves a lesson. And here's the lesson he'll learn: that love is not guaranteed, that effort matters, that energy is sacred. He'll learn that when you stop contacting him, it's not a game, it's growth. It's not manipulation, it's maturity. You're teaching him what it feels like to lose something real by choosing yourself. Because silence is not absence, it's awareness. It's saying, I've given enough, I've tried enough, I've cared enough. Now it's your turn. You see, when you stop reaching out, the right man will step forward, the wrong one will fade. That's the beauty of no contact. It filters everything. It shows you who's really connected to your soul and who is just addicted to your attention. The man who truly cares will not stay silent in your silence. He will reach out. He will feel the shift. He will remember your value. But the one who doesn't, let him go. Let him stay where he belongs, in your past, not your peace. There's power in walking away without announcing it. There's grace in disappearing without bitterness. There's strength in knowing that you can love deeply and still let go when love stops being respected. Because at the end of the day, your silence is not empty. It's full of self-respect, self-love, and self-worth. And when he realizes that, when he finally understands that your absence was not punishment but protection, he'll never forget you, because real impact isn't made by presence alone. It's made by peace, by strength, by the kind of woman who knows her worth enough to walk away without a fight. He'll start thinking about the moments he didn't value, the effort he didn't match, the words he didn't say, and those thoughts will echo in his mind long after you've moved on. Because once a man realizes the difference between attention and affection, between convenience and connection, between desire and devotion, it's too late. The woman he took for granted becomes the one he can't replace. And that's the secret. The way to be unforgettable is not by forcing anyone to remember you, but by living in a way that makes forgetting impossible, by showing grace where others would show anger, by walking away when others would beg, by staying silent when others would scream. That's the kind of strength that lingers in memory forever. So when you go no contact, remember this: your silence is not empty space. It's a message. It says, I've outgrown the version of me that needed to be understood. I've stepped into the version of me that simply knows my worth. And that energy, that confidence, that quiet dignity, that's what he won't forget. Because the truth is, when a woman stops talking, a man's mind starts racing. When she stops explaining, his heart starts wondering. When she stops showing up, his soul starts searching. Silence becomes the echo that follows him everywhere, in songs, in places, in memories. He'll replay moments in his head, trying to figure out when he lost you, how he let something so pure slip through his fingers. But by then, you won't be waiting. You'll be healing, you'll be glowing. You'll be too busy becoming everything you were meant to be. You'll understand that silence wasn't the end, it was the beginning of peace, the beginning of power, the beginning of you choosing yourself again. And one day he'll see you, not the same woman he once knew, but the evolved version of her. The one who learned to love herself so much that she no longer settles for half love, half effort, half truths. And he'll know deep down he'll never forget you, because the woman who walked away with grace leaves a mark that time can't erase. So go beyond no contact. Don't just be silent, be still, be sure, be secure in who you are. Let him miss not the sound of your voice, but the peace of your presence. Let him remember not the way you looked, but the way you made him feel calm, seen, safe, alive. And let that be your power. Because the woman who knows her worth doesn't chase love, she attracts it. She doesn't beg to be seen. She stands so bright that being seen becomes inevitable. She doesn't prove her value. She embodies it. And that right there is how you become unforgettable. Not through words, but through silence. Not through games, but through grace. Not through contact, but through confidence. He won't forget you because you didn't just leave. You leveled up. You didn't just walk away. You rose higher. And that kind of energy, that kind of strength, that kind of peace, it leaves a mark on every soul that ever felt it. Silence isn't weakness. It's one of the most powerful languages a woman can ever speak, because when you stop explaining, when you stop defending, when you stop chasing, something in the universe shifts. The energy begins to move in your favor. Suddenly, the one who took your presence for granted starts to feel your absence like never before. The one who ignored your efforts starts to remember your warmth. And the one who thought you'd always be available starts realizing how rare your kind of love really was. Silence teaches lessons that words never could. It has a weight, a dignity, a calm authority that no argument, no text, no emotional outburst can ever carry. Because silence says, I'm done repeating myself. I'm done showing up where I'm not seen. I'm done proving my worth to someone who refuses to recognize it. Silence says, I know who I am. I know what I deserve, and I will not beg for love that doesn't see my value. See, when you go quiet, you create space, and in that space, truth grows louder, your energy recalibrates, your confidence rebuilds, and your peace starts whispering back to you, reminding you that you never needed anyone to validate your worth in the first place. You were the blessing. You were the calm in his chaos. You were the soft place to land. And if he couldn't see that, that's his loss, not yours. Silence is what happens when you finally realize that explaining your love to someone who refuses to listen is like shouting into the wind. No matter how hard you try, it won't change where it blows. But if you stand still, if you breathe, the wind will eventually pass, and what's left standing is your strength, your peace, your unshaken grace. Silence is the mark of emotional maturity. It's the voice of someone who has learned that peace is more powerful than control. It's the strength of someone who knows that closure doesn't come from someone else's apology. It comes from your own decision to move forward, and that's where real healing begins. Because when you stop talking to prove your point, you start listening to your soul. And that's when you realize your energy was the message all along, not your words. Your absence was the answer, not your explanation. Your calm was the statement, not your reaction. Silence teaches him something his ego could never understand. It teaches him what your presence truly meant. It makes him see that your love wasn't ordinary, that it had a rhythm, a peace, a kind of warmth that no one else can recreate. Silence reminds him of the comfort you brought, the laughter you shared, the moments he didn't appreciate, and every day that you remain silent, the echo of your energy grows louder in his mind. Silence is not punishment, it's preservation. It's choosing to protect your heart from what no longer deserves it. It's walking away without slamming the door. It's smiling without saying a word. It's reclaiming your emotional control and saying, I may love you, but I love me more. It's realizing that love should never cost you your self-worth, your peace, or your joy. And when you stop talking, stop reaching, stop forcing, that's when your power starts to return. Because silence is how you take your energy back. It's how you shift from trying to be understood to simply being respected. Silence is how you rebuild your mystery. It's how you remind him that your love was not a guarantee, it was a gift. And when a man starts to realize that gift is gone, that's when the regret starts creeping in. He starts replaying every conversation, every message, every look, every time he thought you'd always be there. And suddenly your silence becomes louder than any words you could have said. It starts haunting his thoughts because silence is powerful like that. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't demand, it demonstrates. It doesn't fight, it flows. And that's what makes it unforgettable. Silence carries the kind of strength that leaves an imprint on the soul. It says, I love deeply, I gave my all, but I will not beg for what's mine by birthright, respect, love, peace. Silence is what separates the girl who reacts from the woman who responds. It's what transforms heartbreak into elevation. It's what turns pain into wisdom. Because when you go silent, you stop feeding chaos and start feeding your growth. You start hearing your intuition again. You start remembering who you were before you tried to prove yourself to someone who didn't deserve that version of you. Silence is your soul's way of saying enough. It's time to heal. It's time to grow. It's time to move forward. Because no amount of noise will ever make the wrong person understand your value, but your silence will make the right person feel it deeply. Your silence creates curiosity. It makes him wonder. It makes him question. It makes him feel your distance like a missing heartbeat. It's not about manipulation. It's about magnetism. When your energy is at peace, it draws in what aligns with it and pushes away what doesn't. Silence is magnetic because it comes from emotional control, from knowing that if love has to be begged for, it's not love, it's dependency, and you deserve better than that. Silence is the language of queens. It's how you move when you've learned that not every battle deserves your energy, not every argument deserves your voice, not every connection deserves your access. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Sometimes the most profound statement is the one left unsaid. Because silence doesn't just protect your peace, it amplifies your presence. When you go quiet, people start to feel your absence in a way they never did before. And that's when they realize how much light you carried. Silence is the point where you stop trying to convince someone to stay and start realizing you're meant to rise. It's the bridge between heartbreak and healing, between chaos and clarity, between needing someone and finding yourself. Silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop allowing confusion to drain your spirit. It means you've matured beyond the need to argue about what's already clear. It means you've grown into a woman who understands that peace is more attractive than pressure, and that your energy is too valuable to waste on explanations that won't be heard. Silence is sacred. It's the moment your soul finally exhales, the moment your heart says, I'm done fighting for what's not meant for me. And that's when power comes back, because silence is not the absence of words, it's the presence of wisdom. It's when you realize that what's meant for you doesn't need to be chased. It will meet you in peace. And until then, your silence will be your shield, your power, your healing space. Silence speaks volumes to a man who thought your love was guaranteed. It tells him, I'm not angry, I'm just unavailable. It says, I'm not ignoring you, I'm choosing me. And that realization is what breaks him more than any argument ever could. Because men don't forget the woman who walked away gracefully. They forget the ones who fought to stay. But the one who chose peace, the one who chose silence, she becomes unforgettable. She becomes the woman he compares everyone else to, because her silence carried dignity, her absence carried power, and her peace became the proof that she was always the prize. Silence is where transformation begins. It's where you stop chasing answers and start embodying them. It's where you realize you don't need to prove your worth through words. Your silence already said it all. And in that stillness, your confidence grows, your spirit expands, your glow returns, and your heart finally finds peace. Silence is not weakness. It's the rebirth of your strength, the awakening of your divine power, and the reminder that sometimes the most beautiful thing you can ever say is nothing at all. Just let your silence speak, let your peace lead, and watch how everything that once tried to break you starts to miss the very energy it couldn't appreciate. Silence becomes your superpower, your healing language, and your invisible crown that no one can take away. Because once a woman learns to be silent, not out of fear, but out of self-worth, she becomes unstoppable, she becomes unforgettable, she becomes free.